Okay, so it doesn't matter what programming language you're using, you're always going to want to set up some sort of development environment, a place where you can write all your code and keep all your stuff and have all the tools that you need. Now, in the old days, we had to download everything onto our computer and run them locally. Then, recently, we started to get these cloud development environments, and they are really, really cool. And I use them for a lot of things, and I used to really push them for my students to use them as well, because they're cheap, a lot of times free, and they're easy to use, and they're very standard. The problem with that is these cloud development tools are starting to disappear. The more popular ones are getting bought by other companies and shut down, or they're being changed all the time, so you can never really count on them. And so now I actually recommend that we go back to the old way and download everything onto our computer. The cloud development tool that I used forever was called Cloud9. Amazon bought it, and we all thought, wow, great, it's going to be around forever. But just last week, Amazon closed Cloud9. They integrated it into Amazon AWS, but in doing so, they changed it all around. It's a lot harder to use, especially for newbies, people learning, at the beginning, and now you have to pay for it. So it's not a great thing. So I no longer recommend those type of online tools. There was one called nitrous.io. It got closed down. It's just these things come and go, and there's no consistency to them. And so it's just much better to keep all the stuff on your computer, I find. So that's what we're going to do. So to run Python on our computer, we need to download Python and install it. But we also need something called a text editor. And that's where we're going to be actually writing our code. And there are tons of text editors you can choose from, many free options. But I'm going to suggest Sublime Text. It is a very standard sort of computer programming text editor, and it has all the bells and whistles that we need. It's completely free. You can pay for it. I think they ask you for donations or something in order to support it, but you don't have to. At the time of this video, we're on Sublime Text 3. I am either running version 2 or 3. It really doesn't matter which version you use. Whatever the current one is will be fine. So go ahead and download that. Come to the website. I just Googled it, and it's sublimetext.com. Click the download link. Choose your version, OS X, Windows 64. I'm not really sure what the difference between the Windows and the Windows 64. Maybe this one is 32-bit, but that doesn't seem right because there really aren't a whole lot of 32-bit computers left. But I would probably click this one or maybe this Windows 64-bit version. It is bold after all. And just download this file to your computer, and then when it gets done downloading, just double click it to install it. I've already installed it on my computer, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that again. Sublime Text, very popular. Another popular one is Notepad++. It's also free. We'll take a quick look at that. It's just notepad-plus-plus.org. And this one is white. It has a white sort of color scheme to it. And you can change the color schemes on this one as well as Sublime to whatever you want, but out of the box it comes white versus Sublime out of the box it comes sort of that darker colored. You can see right down here. And the reason why we use text editors, you can see in this picture, is our code will change color based on the programming language we're using. That's very useful. Otherwise, you could just use Notepad or something. But there's also all kinds of other bells and whistles, great things included, and we'll see that as we go on. So go ahead and download that, install that, get that ready to go. Then head back over to python.org and click the download button, and you can see it shows that we're on Windows, and pick just whatever the latest version of Python 3 point whatever, and it's probably not going to be 3.6.3 by the time you watch this video. Whatever the current version is, that will be just fine. Go ahead and click that. So I'm going to save this to my desktop. It's just what I usually do. You can save it to anywhere. And you can see 29.2 megabytes, not very big file. Should download right away depending on how fast your internet access is. And once it's downloaded, you can see it's a little exe file. You can just click it here, or you can navigate to your desktop and double click it there. Let's see, click run. I actually have an older version of Python on my computer, so it's asking, do I want to upgrade? And I'll click yes, and it's installing. Now this will install all kinds of stuff on your computer. You will get an IDE, which is in an integrated development environment. We're not going to use that. You can if you want. And it looks like we're downloading a 32-bit version. I don't know if there even is a 64-bit version. Doesn't really matter for our purposes. For most purposes, this is probably going to be just fine. And it will also download some documentation that you can read and all kinds of good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this video while it goes ahead and installs, or we'll just sit here and wait for a second. It should install very quickly. You may have to restart your computer, but probably not. And this is completely free. You don't have to pay for this. This is all open source and all that good stuff. So you could just download it and start running it. And so that's very, very cool. See, we're downloading the documentation or installing the documentation, some utility things. And once this installs, if you want to look at all the stuff that it downloaded and installed, you can go to your Windows Start menu and click the Start button. And then in the little find bar at the bottom, just type in Python and you'll see a list of all the good stuff that was installed. We're not going to use any of that directly. We'll use it indirectly, and I'll show you how we do that starting in the next video. But everything's installed. We have some little links here you can look at for documentation and tutorials and stuff, but we don't need any of that, and we're good to go. So in the next video, we will jump right in and start writing our very first program.